Te quiero decir, te elijo a ti. Si me dan a elegir, te elijo a ti. Para poder vivir, te elijo a ti. Es lo que me hace sentir, te elijo a ti.
Hey friends, welcome back to another vlog. I feel like it's been a while since I've updated you all. If you're new here, my name is Selena. I'm an economist working for the federal government. I'm also a content creator sharing life in my 20s, finding balance. So if you're into that sort of thing, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing. So today is going to be another addition to my healing diaries. I just feel like there's a lot to catch up on. Okay, back in June, I moved back home to Oregon after living in the Washington, D.C. area for the past 5 years. That's a huge life transition, and I feel like with all the emotions and excitement of looking for a new home in my 20s and spending so much time on that, I haven't even taken the time to truly process out loud what life has been like and just living back at home with my parents in my 20s after essentially not living here full time since high school. It's been a big transition. This is gonna be kind of where I start talking about that and opening up with you all, being vulnerable like I try to do as much as I can. So if you like this kind of video, if you like my healing diaries, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Also make sure to like and comment down below because it really helps support my channel so that we can reach more people and build our community here on YouTube. But with all that said, I don't even know where to start. It's gonna be just like a vlog and I'm gonna be sharing my thoughts. I hope that y'all enjoy this video and can appreciate me trying to be vulnerable with you all because it's not easy. It really isn't. But anyway, I'm gonna get to work and I will catch up with you all in a bit. So one of the reasons I created my healing diaries is just to share my true authentic journey as someone who navigates the world living with depression and anxiety, and I thought it would be really interesting to share that and maybe relatable to some of you because anxiety and depression can show up so differently in people's lives, and I know I have my own traumas and triggers and things like that. So just sharing these things for me feels very vulnerable. So I ask that you are all kind in the comments, which 99% of you are. Thank you for allowing me to have a safe space to talk about these things and to share in order to hopefully inspire, motivate, and encourage any of you who might be going through similar situations. This huge transition of moving back home has been really hard for me. I think it's been an accumulation of emotions. A plethora of things have just been impacting my mental health since moving back home. For one, just living back in my parents' house and not in my own apartment is such a huge difference because, you know, we can get into that a little bit later, but it's just been really hard. Luckily, I've never had like super strict parents or anything like that, so it's not like there's a ton of restrictions that they place on me, but you know, when you're living in their house, it's just different. Like they have a different way of doing things. Cleanliness is different. I have no say in anything because this is not my house, this is their house, and that's really hard for me to learn to let go of control in that aspect of my life after having control over that for the past 8 to 10 years, essentially since I moved out and went to college. I have had my own place and my own space, so it's just been hard. So one thing has been letting go of control, which I do feel like now in month 3 I've gotten a little bit better at, or a lot better at, honestly. When I first got here I was like shocked. I'm like, guys, why don't you do this? Why don't you change that? And then they're like, all right, slow your roll, lady. Like, we've been living like this for the past, you know, whatever years, and you're coming back home, like, you need to chill. And I don't know, that was just really hard. So that's one thing that's been very difficult. Another thing that's been difficult is just, there's like this incessant voice in the back of my head that just says, are you moving forward? Or are you moving backward? Like, is this the right decision to move back home? And I get that question a lot from a lot of you as well, like, why did you move back home? And my answer is always family, and sometimes the response I get is pretty alarming. Like, sometimes people will say, you know, was there anything else? Like, are you only moving back to Oregon for your family? It's almost like moving back home for family and for the place that I grew up in is not enough of a reason for some people. And so sometimes, even though I know for myself it is enough, doubts creep in, and so that's another thing that I've had to navigate. I think that also just comes with living in my parents' home in my 20s after quote unquote making it on my own, which really just means, you know, having the financial stability to be able to live on my own across the country without their support. It's just been such a huge change. If you've noticed, like if you're not new here, you notice I probably am not making as much content or vlogging as much, and it's just because I feel so out of my element. Like this doesn't even fully feel like home. Like I don't feel as comfortable and confident to not only film, I feel like I feel fine filming this video or just in general. It's more so that because certain things are not to my liking and it's hard for me to like let go of control, I don't feel comfortable filming, you know, for example, throughout the whole house, like in the kitchen and the living room, because it's not my home. For one, because of privacy. For two, because sometimes it's not up to the cleanliness that I would like it to be, or maybe even the aesthetics, I guess. It's just been really hard for me to film and to find a routine and to feel comfortable and confident at home. So I still have not found a good routine for myself. I still feel very much out of place. I won't get into it too much, but I have gotten questions about like my relationship with my parents and if that's been different, and it definitely is. There are some things I just can't get into on YouTube and just publicly right now, especially because at the end of the day, like they are my parents and I do love them, but to say that it's strained my relationship in certain ways with my family, I feel like is pretty normal, because you know there's like gonna be bickering and arguments within families, but it just makes it so that I don't feel at peace like I would want to. So I also get the question about like if I miss my apartment and living in Washington DC, like that area, and I do, but I wonder if it's that I really miss living in DC or if it's more so that I miss living on my own, because like I said, pretty much after college or after high school, I went straight to college. I was 2.5 hours away from my family, figuring out who I was, my life, all of that on my own. After that, I came home for a couple of months, but then I ended up moving to DC for a job, and I was there for 5 years, living on my own with roommates for the first 3 years, and then in my own place 100% by myself the last 2 years. And I just feel like there was this like progression of like moving out and being on my own, but having college roommates, moving out, moving cross country, being on my own, but having a roommate, and then kind of progressing to living on my own 100%, having no roommates, and feeling like I made it in a sense, to now having to come back home. So I'm no longer cross country in my like dream city with all the career opportunities just at my disposal or nearby, to now moving back home where I am afraid because I don't know what this is gonna look like for my career. And in addition to that, I've lost control of my environment because I'm now living in my parents' home where I truly have no say over anything because I'm the child. I'm just like saying all of this out loud for the first time, so I kind of am in my feels at this moment. So I'm not trying to cry, but I'm just processing this out loud with you all. So yeah, moving back home has kind of almost felt like I've moved backwards in life. I know for a fact, like logically, I know I haven't, but emotionally, I feel like I have. Does that make sense? Because logically, I tell myself, Selena, you're preparing to buy a house. Like, you're not gonna go rent an apartment, sign a lease, and then spend more money on that when you're trying to save up for a house. Like, it just doesn't make sense. But emotionally, I'm like, was it a bad choice, like, to move back home? I feel so little again. I feel like I don't have all this autonomy and independence just by the fact that I'm living in my parents' home, and that's just how it is when you live under someone else's roof. I also don't have a car, so I'm constantly having to borrow my parents' cars to get anywhere, or my boyfriend's car when he's home from work. It's just a lot to go from being completely independent and somewhat in control, because we're not always in control, to being very much dependent on my parents, and you know, for housing and for transportation. It's just surreal. So with all that said, with that little update on my mental state and a little chat about living at home in my 20s and how I feel about that, I also decided to make a little list of things that will help me just heal and feel better, because I'm currently just not feeling so great. I'm just not feeling good right now. And it's not for any particular reason. It's more like a mixture of all the things that I just mentioned. So I made a little list of things that I want to do today just to help lift my spirits a little bit and feel better. To do today and also in general, because the first thing I put on here was to sign up for individual therapy. I don't feel ready to do that quite yet, so gotta do research on that. So that's not gonna get done today, but I still put it on my to-do list because I want to do it. It's a good day to go get a pumpkin spice drink, okay? I know it's summer and I'm all about the summer vibes. I love it. I love the sun being out. It makes me feel so much better, which honestly, that's another reason I'm nervous, is for the winter is coming months. A little bit nervous about that, but definitely want a little drink to kind of pick me up. And then I want to go for a long walk, and I kind of want to go to Home Goods too. We'll see if I do that. I kind of want to just like go to a store and walk around and look at home decor, because that always kind of makes me excited. So I think I'm going to invite my mom to come with me. That just sounds like a little fun errand to run. I always like to invite my mom to come with me on these things. So that's been one thing that I really love about being back home, is just being able to hang out with my mom or my cousins or my aunts, who I love so much, and I feel like I've missed so much from their lives the past decade that I've essentially been away and missed Christmases and Thanksgivings and birthdays. Like, I have to relearn everyone's birthdays. So that's been one huge positive. I have no regrets about moving back when I think about that. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. But anyway, I'm gonna go ask my mom if she wants to go do some fun stuff like that, because I actually want to look for like a little maybe seating area for this area in my room right here, because I want to do like a bedroom makeover. As you can see, it's pretty empty and you haven't seen them before, but I want to see if I can find something for here. And then I also want to find like a little maybe dresser or something situation to put here, and then I would probably move the mirror elsewhere. Anyway, we're gonna go see if we can find anything and also lift my spirits. For the bedroom makeover video, let me just really quickly measure this wall to see what size like dresser I would even need. This is not gonna work. Okay. Oh yeah. 49 inches. Let's go. So about to head to Starbucks by myself, unfortunately. My mom wasn't able to make it. Just joking. I saw your face in the background. You're like, should I leave? She's here. I just joked. So we're going to Starbucks. Hi.
What are you guys up to today?
We're gonna go to Home Goods.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm so excited.
Would you like straws for these?
Yes, please. Thank you. I'm gonna pull over to try these drinks. Okay, we got our drinks. Now I'm just gonna do a quick little taste test. I actually haven't tried their pumpkin chai latte before, so this one is the latte. A ver si te puedo ver. This is the oat milk iced latte with 1 pump of brown sugar syrup. It's also blonde espresso and 2 pumps of pumpkin sauce. Sí me gusta.
Sí.
Pero creo que me gustaría más without the oat milk. I think I'd prefer it with the regular milk. ¿Verdad? Or, I don't know. ¿A ti te gusta?
I like it. But
Okay.
yeah.
That's just me though. ¿Tienes el otro straw or no? Otra cosa. Mom!
Oh.
Oh my gosh. We're just making a mess over here. So this is the Ice Grande Pumpkin Chai. The Grande Ice Pumpkin Chai. This is the one. This is the one I'm gonna drink. That's good. I love chai, but the pumpkin just, it's so fall. Next stop, Home Goods. Made it to Home Goods, aka the best store after TJ Maxx for making me feel better. So gonna go inside and try to find some things for the bedroom, but also just gonna be looking around because it's always fun to come to Home Goods. This is so good. So far I don't really see any like couches or anything, like little area couches that I'm interested in. My mom likes this lamp though. Of course I'm in the mirror section again because gotta look for the new house, you know? Gosh, these are so cute. I'm right here. You couldn't find me? Don't go. I wonder what size rug would even work in that living room. As you can see, I am back home in my room, and now I'm gonna work on doing some laundry. Going to Home Goods was really fun, but it was a bust. There really wasn't anything that I wanted. I didn't find anything that I wanted to put here in terms of seating. I think I'm probably just gonna have to go my favorite way and just online shop. I also asked you all on my Instagram to ask me any questions regarding my move and living back home with my parents. So I'm gonna do my laundry and answer some of those questions. So I just got off the phone with Bae and he said he's on his way home from work. So this is the perfect time to be productive and get some of my clothes folded and put away, because then we're gonna go to find something to eat and probably maybe look around like the neighborhood where we may or may not be moving soon. So, but for now we gotta get this done.
Hello.
Oh my gosh. So I have some questions that you all asked me on my Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, make sure to do that because I often do little Q&As, share my life, but also y'all can participate in things like this. So number one, how is your boyfriend adjusting to Oregon? How are you adjusting, babe?
Pretty well.
I would say that David is a Portland Northwest girly. I don't know what the guy term is for it, but he loves it here. So it's been really great for him and just watching him enjoy all the outdoorsy things. How do you manage a career, relationship, social media, and your mental health? How do you manage it? To me, sounds like, you know, how do I balance it all? And I would say that's pretty much the point of my entire channel, sharing how I navigate it all, how I figure it out, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I would say when I've felt that I've been managing it all best is when I really prioritize YouTube as a job versus just as a passion, like making time every night to edit, to plan, to respond to business emails. Essentially the days where me and my partner both have time off are the days and times that I prioritize for us to have alone time or to plan things together. So that kind of works out. And since I'm in a whole new state, planning time for friendships is something I've kind of been lacking on that I need to work on, but I feel like it makes sense because right now I'm also looking for a house, so I'm kind of like preoccupied navigating that whole process. How I manage everything is really just by prioritizing things on the daily in different seasons of life. Like right now that I am looking for a house, that has kind of taken a huge toll on how I manage everything. I don't really see friends as often as I would like, or I don't make as much intentional time to make new friends, which is something that I do want to do in the future because I've kind of made it a short-term goal and priority to prioritize finding a house and moving into a home and doing all of that. So it's all about priorities and where your priorities lie, finding a routine and rhythm that works for you. That's kind of where I'm at. As I mentioned in this vlog, I've been struggling with all of that, so I can't really give too much advice. I will say when I have felt that I've been managing and balancing everything best is when I have a set routine. When I lived in DC, I liked waking up at like 5 a.m. to edit and do YouTube work before my 9 to 5, but that's kind of impossible to do right now since I have to start work at 7 a.m. due to the time difference. One of you asked if there's anything new that I've been doing since moving back for myself, and you asked if it's been kind of difficult to adjust to life back home. The answer to the second question, as you know, is yes, it's been difficult to adjust to living back home and also just living back in my home state. It's so weird. Like the first week I got here, I went to Planet Fitness. It was just, I did not like the fact that I kept seeing a bunch of people from high school because it just brought back all these memories I was not ready for. And it's not like I had huge issues with any of these people. It just made me really, I don't know, uncomfortable. I just wasn't ready. The thing I really liked about living in DC was just always seeing new people that I don't recognize, the diversity of people. It's just a whole different vibe than here. So I ended up not wanting to sign up for that Planet Fitness. It kind of gives me anxiety, not gonna lie, or I already have anxiety. It kind of worsens the anxiety. One of you asked me if there's been any issues with my partner or my parents since moving back home. I will say there haven't really been any issues. Everyone gets along pretty well. It's family and we're all living in one home, so sometimes discussions might come up, like about who did the dishes or who didn't do the dishes last, or just little things like that happen whether or not I'm living with my parents, to be honest. It's been pretty nice actually, like being home and having meals most nights. Like my dad will grill carne asada, or he'll go to Costco and get us like rotisserie chicken for dinner, or he's been getting a lot of pizza lately. So pros and cons. It's nice because there's always like food available, but then the con to that is kind of like what I was saying earlier, that I don't have much control, it feels like, over my environment. So, you know, it's kind of like the saying, beggars can't be choosers. I'm just grateful for it. But at the same time, I do miss having kind of more autonomy on like meal prepping and having healthier food options, I guess. But one of you asked what areas in Portland I'm looking at. So I've mentioned this before, but I'm definitely open to the entire Portland metro area. I'll list all the areas that were kind of like listed on my Redfin: Northwest Portland, Southeast, Southwest Portland, Beaverton, Bethany area, Tigard, North Plains, Hillsborough. I'm looking at all of that like surrounding metro area. If it's within like a 30-minute or less drive or distance to the Pearl District in Portland, that's kind of like where I'm looking at from either side. Like I've even looked at, you know, Alberta District in Portland. Slabtown is way too expensive, but I was looking there when I was looking to get an apartment. A bunch of different areas, honestly. I've definitely expanded the location as well because I wanted to have more options for single family homes and townhomes. All in all, I will say living back home with my parents is really not bad or terrible. I don't want it to come off that way. I'm just sharing my honest experience. With that, I always like to share the good, the bad, the ugly, and it hasn't all been sunsets and butterflies, which it might seem like everything has been great just because I haven't been sharing a ton on YouTube. And what I do share on Instagram, it's definitely like my highlight reel, which I feel like that's kind of what Instagram is for the most part. And I can't share so much, you know, on Instagram and TikTok because it's all short form content. So I'm just glad that I'm able to share all of this with all of you today, and know that I also have had great memories and moments here with family, and getting to spend time with my family, and also just getting to participate with family dinners. And when my tias have like barbecues or carne asadas, like I'm able to actually attend, and that alone has made this entire move so worth it, because slowly I'm feeling more connected and reconnected to my family again. Because I definitely do feel like a disconnect with my family because I've been gone this entire time. I feel like I'm truly like getting to know my own family every time I see them, and it's beautiful and I love that. And I'm so grateful to all the people who, you know, make me kind of doubt myself sometimes about moving back home and living with my parents. I know my truth and my priorities lie within my family and God and my friendships, and I know that people who love me and know me know my heart, and that even though I do prioritize my job and my ambitions, my whole identity is not based off of that. So I'm really glad that I made this decision to come back home, and overall this short-term experience of living back home with my family, I think it's a good learning lesson and opportunity for us to spend time together again, which will probably maybe never happen again like this. So So I'm trying to appreciate the time that I'm here, see it as a positive thing. And it's also an opportunity to save money. And I'm really grateful that, you know, my parents just let me move back in like that. You know, I know that they love me and that they're always going to be there for me no matter what. And I'm so grateful and so blessed to have that, because not everyone does have that, regardless of their relationship with their parents. But with all that said, that's going to be the end of this Healing Diaries episode 3. Let me know down below if you like these videos, what kinds of other videos or topics you'd like to see on my Healing Diaries. We're about to head out, and I'm actually filming for TikTok/Instagram, so make sure to follow me on TikTok and Instagram if you want to see a little more of my 5 to 9 after my 9 to 5. But with all that said, I love you all so much, and I hope to see you all in the next video.